Hi, it's Trial by Stone. I'm back tonight with a review for Shinya Tsukamoto's Tetsuo the Iron Man. Um, I've seen it before. I've watched it one time, like maybe I kind of want to say a year ago, but I feel like that's too generous. But I was I let me start over. I found out about this film from the YouTube channel Wisecrack. I'm a really big fan of them. Shout out to them, I guess. Um, they did an episode that was talking about um, the um, similarities between Man and Machine and how films like Videodrome and Akira um, really touch on that idea. And this was one of them, and it looked really intriguing, especially because of a certain drill orifice. Not orifice, phallus. Yeah. It's odd. It's an odd movie. Um, it's one of the weirder movies out there, I will admit, but I really dug it the first time I watched it. It was odd. It was definitely odd, and I didn't really know what I was prepared for. It's an hour and 7 minutes, so it's pretty short. But yeah, I anyway, yeah. So I watched it and I liked it, but I figured I would give it another rewatch. And now that I know what I was in for, and I've experienced more movies and delved even deeper into film, and I would like to think that I'm smarter than I was when I first watched it, but I don't know. But anyway, I watched it again literally like 5 minutes ago, and I like it much more this time. I really, really like it. It is such a fun movie, surprisingly. It it's in black and white. I'm not sure the actor's name. I would look it up if I had my computer on me, but I do not. So that sucks, but whatever. Um, yeah, it's really fun. The drill penis is something to behold. um, it's very very interesting. The main character is very reminiscent of Jeffrey Combs is Herbert West from Reanimator, which is one of my favorite horror movies, and he is severely underrated as an actor, and that role in particular, it really really reminds me of Reanimator in that way. And there's even a scene with a there's a cat. Spoilers, by the way, for Tetsuo the Iron Man. It came out in 1988. Very odd movie. Um, yeah, I'm gonna touch a little bit on spoilers, but not too much. Anyway, there's a scene that really reminded me of Reanimator, where Stuart Gordon's Reanimator, um, which was adapted from an H.P. Lovecraft story. Anyway, um, there's a scene in Tetsuo where a cat becomes absorbed and turns into a weird metal cat thing. It's really cool practical effects. It seriously reminds me of the reanimated cat. I think it's a cat. Pretty sure it's a cat from Reanimator. Um, yeah, that was cool, and it also had this weird like scene. It reminded me of a lot of movies actually, and I think it inspired a bunch too. Um, in fact, I think it may have had some influence to Darren Aronofsky's Pi, which is a really really cool movie. Came out in the early '90s, I believe. Is also in black and white. Tetsuo the Iron Man is in black and white. It's a body horror movie. I should talk a little more about it. Basically, Tetsuo the Iron Man is about. It's very Lynchian. It has this plotlessness, almost. I mean, there is a plot, there is, but it's a little bit hard to follow. Um, Anywho, it follows this salaryman, is what they call him in the credits, who is a metal fetishist. He really enjoys metal, if you know what I mean. In fact, the movie starts with him basically cutting his leg and shoving a piece of scrap metal to his thigh. And throughout the movie, he progressively becomes more and more metal, for lack of a better word. Um, yeah, it's very interesting. He um, he pretty much turns into this giant metal monster, scrap metal monster, and I'm blanking. I'm sorry. I think my mom just got up from bed. They sleep upstairs. I'm in my basement. Um, I should probably be quieter. Um, anyway, he throughout the movie he progressively becomes more and more metal, and he adds more and more metal to his body, and it's very interesting to watch. There's some really cool practical effects. I will say at times it is kind of hard to tell what exactly is happening. That was my mom. Um, at times it is kind of hard to tell what exactly is happening, um, but that's fine. Um, yeah, it's really cool. The I will say if I had any gripes with the movie, um, I think the whole chase scene in the middle of it is a little bit drawn out, and um, the movie itself is quite self-indulgent, which is kind of annoying, but whatever. It's what it is. Um, Many of my favorite movies happen to be very self-indulgent, and I'll get to them later on. Um, Hopefully, I really want to start reviewing some of my more favorite movies. Um, but anyway, yeah, it's a little self-indulgent, um, and it is pretty campy. it His whole dream sequence thing with the girl who's like, yeah, it's weird. It's a weird movie. It is really odd. Um, it's barely an hour. It's like an hour and 7 minutes. Um, but anyway, yeah, it's really fun. It's got some really cool imagery. I think it also has that. I don't really know what style of directing I would call this, but it really reminds me of stuff that I saw in films like Battles of Honor and Humanity, um, or Graveyard of Honor, the original from like 1974. Um, Really reminds me of that stuff where like the camera's mainly handheld and is kind of shaky, but like you know what I mean. If you do, you know what I mean. If you don't, then you know. But anyway, um, yeah, it's got the Japanese like man, I'm really blanking on the word, but it's very Japanese. I will say, and I will say I am not the biggest fan of the ending. I like the very ending where, again, spoiler alert, um, the main character and the villain like combine and then are like, we're gonna turn the world into metal. I like that, but I don't really like how they kind of have a Power Ranger fight. I think it's kind of dumb, but again, whatever. The movie came out in 1988. It's already an extremely odd movie, but it's anyway. um, yeah. Overall, just wrapping up. Um, is a really fun movie. I really, really dig it. I have yet to see Shinya Tsukamoto's Bullet Ballet or Tetsuo 2 the Body Hammer, I think it's called, or maybe it's The Body Hammer. I'm not really sure. Um, but I'm excited to watch those. I will eventually get to them. Um, Hopefully sooner than later. Specifically, Body Hammer. I'll get to Bullet Ballet later on, but yeah. Um, it very much gives off vibes of Eraserhead from David Lynch, which is another one of my favorite movies. It is um, again another one that's in black and white, like Pi, um, Aronofsky's Pi. Um, yeah, it's very interesting, and I 100% believe that this movie was maybe even just slightly inspired by Akira. Um, Kazuhiro Otomo's Akira, which is an anime from 1988. Most people know it. It's really great. Pretty hard R. It's very body horror, like Tetsuo. In fact, the one of the main characters in Akira, his name is Tetsuo, and which again most people know this, and he kind of like becomes like part metal, like this. The main character's name in this is Tetsuo. I'm assuming they don't really ever call him that. I don't think. I might be wrong. Um, Again, very odd movie. A little bit hard to follow, so names are elsewhere, but whatever. Um, so I really think there's a connection there between Akira and Tetsuo the Iron Man. In fact, Akira and Tetsuo the Iron Man came out the same year, 1988. So that's really interesting. Um, but yeah, overall, really fun movie. I really suggest it if you're into really experimental, weird body horror, cyberpunk, H.R. Geiger ish um, films like this. It's like very Asia extreme Japanese body horror. It's cool. It's cool. Um, and also, if you want to see a drill penis, then there you go. I have the perfect movie for you. Um, so yeah, that would be Tetsuo the Iron Man, directed by Shinya Tsukamoto in 1988. I'm hoping to have more reviews coming soon. Um, yeah, this is just the start of a very long journey, hopefully. So yeah, uh, kind of blank there. Long live the Dark Crystal and bye to a trial by stone. I don't know. I'm still working on a closing. Anyway, peace.